iHeartRadio Broadway, driven by Mercedes-Benz.
Well, Stephen Sondheim's Old Friends is a celebration of all things Sondheim. I like to think it's a sampling of his greatest hits. So it's like Sondheim Top 40 for iHeartRadio Broadway. and you will undoubtedly fall in love with one, if not several, of the pieces of musical theater history that are intertwined into this show. I mean, we have Bernadette Peters reprising her roles that she created. Like, she created these. And then we see Lea Salonga's beautiful takes on, and just probably the most gorgeous ways these songs have ever been sung before. It's such an honor to be able to share the stage with just legends after legends after legends, and it's pretty cool. People say don't meet your heroes, but I'm here to tell you, meet them, work with them, do all the things with them, because they are just so inspiring every day. The show has been received so well. We had a beautiful run out in Los Angeles where we really got to find our footing for a little bit before coming to New York, but you know, it's wonderful being at the Friedman. It's a very intimate house. And in LA, we were at the Amundsen, which is 2,000 seats. So being here in a 650 or so seat theater, it feels good to bring it really close, because so many people have these intimate connections to Sondheim and Sondheim material. So it's really fun to be able to really invite people in and get close to us to share this. Legends. I mean, legends. We have Olivier winners, Olivier nominees, Tony winners multiple times over. And it's just, I mean, being backstage every single night, it is really beautiful watching all of these people who are icons and stars in their own right, sitting backstage and watching what's happening on stage, just like little crickets, like, you know, just soaking it all up. And I'm just having the time of my life, really. I am having a really great time being back on stage with Lea Salonga. I made my Broadway debut with her in Here Lies Love a couple summers ago, and to be working with her again and truly call her an old friend at this point is just so special. She's been my idol for as long as I can remember, so it's very, very special. It's really special being able to create something from the ground up, but it's also really cool to have a blueprint to work off of as well. And in Old Friends, for example, we have decades and decades and decades of blueprints to go off of, and yet still find a way to make it our own at the same time. And so there's something to be found, there's a joy to be found in both situations. I have loved being able to create something from the ground up, but I also love having people to honor and look back on as I'm foraying into a version of a role myself too. So something, if I ever write a book, I swear one of the moments that I'll have to talk about is being in a chemistry read of sorts for Old Friends. So this was April of last year, April 2024. And after a series of auditions and callbacks in front of the team, and it gets bigger and bigger each time in terms of the people that you're meeting in the room, I remember getting called in for a chemistry read. Let's say that first audition was on a Tuesday and this chemistry read was on a Friday. And I've never done something like this before in my journey with musical theater. And essentially, the creative team brought in a group of 5 or so people to kind of test the dynamic of what we were like working together. And little did I know that when I would walk into the space, one of my old friends, genuinely, we went to school together, Maria Wearies, was in the room with me, and that just put me at ease because we could actually have fun together. And I still remember at the end of this experience, Sir Cameron McIntosh came up to me and Maria, and he just puts his arm around us and he's saying, like, oh, you're gonna have so many features, you're gonna have the best time, rehearsals will be a blast, and this is just really gonna be a great experience. And both of Maria and I are looking at each other like, what is going on? Like, is he giving us the part right now? And little did we know he was. And so we walk out and we're kind of squealing like little girls. And our lovely casting directors follow us out, and they're like, did he just tell you? And we're like, I think so. And he said, great, call your moms, we're gonna go call your agents. And so we were just like, what is this life? And so that's something that I will remember, because it's not every day that you get the news of getting the part in the room type of thing. It's rare, in fact, that happens. And so that was a really special moment. Yeah, the first Stephen Sondheim show that I saw was West Side Story. It was a production music directed by a childhood mentor of mine, Steve McKinnon, at the Orlando Shakespeare Theater, because I grew up in Orlando, Florida. And I remember being so deeply moved. At the time, I believe this was back in 2016 or so, around that point. But the entire Somewhere sequence was actually dedicated to the angels that we want to remember from the Pulse nightclub shooting. And it was extraordinarily memorable and very, very impactful. And it goes to show that Stephen Sondheim's music can transcend, and his lyrics in this case, but the stories that he is attached to transcend time and life experience, and they can be deeply meaningful. And like, I will always, whenever I hear Lea Salonga singing Somewhere at the beginning of our show, at the beginning of our act two, I think back to that moment and how impactful it was for me. And it reminds me of home, and it reminds me of the loved ones that we have lost in this community. And it is a beautiful, beautiful reminder of how theater can bring people together. One song that I have a very deep attachment to, for sure, is Everybody Says Don't from Anyone Can Whistle. My senior year of high school, this was actually my only time performing Sondheim material besides this show, which is wild to think about. But I did, as a part of the International Thespian Festival, I performed it as a solo. And at this point in my life, I was auditioning for college musical theater programs. I was about to go away for school, and the lyrics to Everybody Says Don't are essentially saying so many people want to label you and put you in a box and tell you who you are. And it was this reminder every time I practiced it, every time I performed it. It's just that nobody can decide that but me. I am the arbiter of my own experience and my own destiny, and I get to create that for myself. And so that is definitely a song that I look back on and it has a very special place in my heart. The coolest experiences that I've had, hands down, with Six has been our sing-along performances because, as you said, everybody knows the songs, and everybody knows Sondheim too, but Sondheim's words, like, if you know Sondheim's words, props to you because there are so many of them. But with Six, it's just so catchy. It's earworms, and they get stuck in your head. And I remember singing Heart of Stone with an audience of 1,000 people at the Lena Horne Theater, and it was such an intimately moving experience for me to feel so supported by the audience who clearly had their own connections to the song and just loved singing this material because it's such a gift to be able to sing it. But as I was journeying through the emotional circumstance of that song, to feel like I had this support from these audience members, it was so beautiful. Such a impactful experience, for sure. Oh my gosh. So, well, okay, with this company, I love to pull a tarot card to give, a little message from the universe as well as an angel card. Love the messages from the universe. The girls' dressing room 6 at the Samuel J. Friedman Theater. We also love eating Dove chocolate and getting messages from the Dove wrappers. And then every day before a show, I will give Jacob Dickey a hand hug. Kyle Seelig and I will squeeze each other's palms for some reason. I'll give a pinky swear to to Jeremy Seckham, and Beth Level will scratch my arms. And that's a nightly occurrence every single show. And I'm definitely a little bit superstitious, so I love to adhere to the rituals as much as I can. I feel like I've been given this gift of performing Sondheim material, and I love performing other people's material and interpreting it, but I also love writing my own music. And that's something that perhaps some fans know about me, but not everybody. And it's really wonderful to be able to create stories and characters and be able to write also from personal experience. And maybe one day I'll write my own show. Who knows? Yeah. I'll throw it back to Six because luckily we just opened Old Friends and like nothing crazy's happened thus far, knock on wood. But with Six, wild things have happened. Wild things. We have handheld microphones for all of the show. We actually don't even have earpieces or anything like that. And so it's fun because if you need to take away the microphone and cough or do whatever you need off mic, you have the permission and flexibility to do that. But also when you get nervous, like, I don't know about you, but my hands get sweaty. And so there have definitely been a couple times where the microphone goes flying, or we have these little holsters built into our costumes that are basically like screwed in, and sometimes the screws will come out because it's one of those things. And so the holster no longer serves its purpose of holding the microphone up. So you'll be doing choreography and all of a sudden the microphone's just not in your person anymore. It's gone. It's gone. Where does it go? Anyway, nothing crazy. I don't think there have been any like straight up broken microphones. Thank God. I feel like we might get fined for those, but those have definitely been very interesting experiences for sure. I love to tell young artists or artists period that the world is your oyster. So many people are going to try and label you or put you in a box. So the least you can do is free yourself of that burden and remind yourself that you are limitless and that never to put a cap on what you think you can do. Yeah. Come see old friends. That's it. Done.
iHeartRadio Broadway, driven by Mercedes-Benz.